Okay, now chat. Let me tell you the story from Twitchcon. So, I was at Twitchcon, and I ended up, and I think this is, by the way, I think you should all pay attention if you ever want to be a content creator, because legitimately, this can be turned into genuinely good advice for anyone who wants to make content. By doing, actually, you know what? I won't spoil it. I'll get to it. But anyways, okay, so I'm at a Twitchcon after party, and a guy comes up to me, and he sees that I have the partner badge. Because, you know, like the TwitchCon badge says if you're like, you know, just like an affiliate, viewer, you name it. So he comes up to me and he ends up just going, yo, what do you stream? And I go, I mean, I don't know. I kind of stream variety, like I speedrun. And if I want to play like a fun random game, I play it. And he goes, gotcha, okay. And he says, do you know how I can tell that you're not a big streamer? And I kind of just put it on a poker face. I'm like, no, how? And he goes, because anyone who's like professional in the streaming industry always knows the answer. Like they have prepared an answer for questions like this because they're good at PR. And I'm like, oh, really? And he goes, yeah. Like, for example, and this kind of ties into why I thought about when someone said, why don't you make a custom Gmail handle, like a custom handle for emails? And he just goes, it's the same thing where, like, if you look at someone's, like, description bio on Twitter, you can tell based upon how they write it, if they're professional or not. Or, for example, you never want to have a non-custom email because it doesn't look like you're professional then if you don't do that. So, for example, let me show you quickly. And then he opens up, like, his Twitter, and he's like, look, so I changed all of these things, and now I have 9,000 followers on Twitter. So, and he's like, yeah. And I was like, oh, really? And he's like, yeah. And then he just kept talking for like 10 minutes about like everything that he changed and like how like he was able to like get this. And like, this is what I like in my head. I'm like, this is so funny because I would dislike you if you're this cocky, no matter your size. But it's even more sad when you don't have the numbers to back it up. Do you know what I mean, Chad? Like, at least I can understand if, like, a 10,000 viewer streamer has a big ego, even if I dislike it. I can get it, at least. So he's like, yeah. And he's like, yeah, so look, I got 9,000 followers now. And, like, I'm averaging, like, 200 viewers on Twitch. Like, I'm getting up there. And I was like, oh, what do you consider to be, like, a big streamer then? And he's like, well, if you average like over probably like 500, I consider you to be like really big. And if you have like over 1,000, I mean, at that point, you're like top 0.1%, which is true. And I was like, oh, I gotcha. Okay, that makes sense. And I was like, yo, let me follow you on Twitter, by the way. And he goes, oh, yeah. So I took out my phone and followed him just because immediately then it says that I followed him. So then he's like, oh, sick, man, let me follow you back. So he clicks on my profile and his face, like, I wasn't like, cause I was like, I didn't want to be rude. I didn't want to try and brag. So I just thought like, I'm just gonna like play with it for a bit. So I was like, oh, let me just follow you then. So then like he opened it up and his face just went like, it was like the most aware I have ever seen in real life. I have never seen someone's face turn as aware as this man did in this moment in time. And then he kind of just like goes, and then I wish this was the end. It doesn't end here. Oh my goodness. Somehow this man doubles down. He goes, after like freezing up for like 10 seconds, he kind of doubles down. So this man, I guess, cannot accept that I have more Twitter followers than him. So he goes, oh, sick. How did you get so many followers? Do you run a bunch of giveaways and stuff? And I'm like, no, I don't think I've ever run any giveaways. And he's like, well, at least it's good to see that you're doing okay on Twitter. But still, like, in general, though, like, it's different. Like, hold on. Let me pull up your Twitch channel quickly to look if there's, like, any tips I can give you. And I'm like, all right, sure. Go right ahead, sir. Go right ahead, sir. And when he sees 250,000 followers on the Twitch channel, once again, aware, just hits it a second time. I don't know how, but somehow the optimism came back and left the body the same way a second time. And I'm like, the thing is too, I'm not even trying to be rude. Like, I genuinely, like, I'm not even trying to be rude here. Didn't approach this man. He just came up and started bragging about how much he's growing and he wanted to show off. I am not even trying anything right now. I'm just here, all right? And then after he opened up my Twitch, this is finally when this man decided that it was time to just take the L. He basically just went, anyways, man, it was so nice to meet you. And then he walked off. Immediately walked off. However, it technically doesn't end there. Because 5 minutes later, I check, and he unfollowed me on Twitter. He walked off, opened up Twitter, and unfollowed me. What the hell, man? So I did the one responsible thing. I unfollowed him back. That's not actually true. I stayed followed to him for a while just to check his posts. But then I unfollowed him after a few months. But I just wanted to see what he was up to. And this is the bigger story that I'm trying to get to. At least we can't blame him for one thing. We can't blame him for being fake. You know what I mean? Like, that's his true colors. You know what I mean? It's not like he can secretly just, like, put on a persona and act like nice guy and then he's not. Like, at least now we immediately know. But either way, so this is what I was going to say. And I think this is important if you want to be a content creator. And I truly mean this from the bottom of my heart. And some people would disagree with me on this, but for most of the time, I'm sorry to say it. If you disagree, you're wrong. Okay. So what I was going to say was this. And I think it's better to give examples than to just tell you. So I want you to think, and without just memeing. I know chat likes to meme and just say no because they like to disagree with streamer. But actually think about this truly as I'm saying this. Think about your favorite creator. Okay, just think about your favorite creator that you watch. Now imagine that instead of them having a professional camera, they had a 720p or 1080p $50 webcam. Would you actually stop watching them or not watch them because the quality of their webcam is lower? The real answer is no. You would never not watch someone just because of the fact that their quality on their webcam is slightly lower. Now, don't get me wrong. With a mic, yeah, if the mic absolutely sounds like you're eating up the mic the whole time, like, sure, that is like a different thing if it's like that terrible. However, as long as it's just pretty good audio, once again, you know, you can buy like a $50, $100 like Yeti or a Blue Snowball, something like that. An AX 2000 or whatever it's called. Things like that, like $100 mics, whatever. Something mid-tier. Doesn't have to be a pro XLR microphone for a $1,000 setup. You're fine. If you can only stream in 720p, trust me, there's no one that would open up a stream and go, oh, I can only watch this in 720p instead of 1080p. I'm gonna click off. It has to, when I say that quality matters, yes, quality does help. However, I truly mean it when I say that when people focus on these small artificial things, as I like to call them, they're really just helping and focusing on this 1%, when in reality, they should focus on the 99%. Does that make sense? Like, really, I truly mean it. Like, can higher quality help? Absolutely. But it's really the minor thing. It's not the thing that's going to determine or help you much at all. The thing that's going to help you the most is the content. If you have a banger content, banger event, you name it. If the quality isn't 10 out of 10, but it's an 8 out of 10, 7 out of 10, people still watch it if the content's banger. Someone would rather watch good content that's 720p than worse content that's 4K. And it's the same thing with, and here's another thing that I liked, and here's another thing too, about like, for example, the email thing. Does it help you to look a little bit more professional to have your own custom email? Absolutely. And for certain businesses, I could probably believe that it could maybe for an individual make a difference. But here's the way that I like to still look at it. And it's true for, once again, the vast majority of things, which is why I think you shouldn't worry about this when you're beginning to stream. Let's say that you are a streamer. And let's say that a company wants to reach out to you because they like your content and they want to sponsor you, okay? First of all, awesome, congratulations. Second of all, do you really think that this is what a company would do? They open up your stream and they go, okay, let's email this guy. We want to see if he's interested in sponsorship. And then they see that your email is linkus7, for example, at gmail.com instead of linkus@business.com. And they're going to go, ooh, default Gmail? No, we're not going to email this guy. Come on. Seriously? You really think that a company that wants to work with you are not going to work with you because you had a Gmail at the end? Like, come on. Does it look like they're professional? Sure. But it's not like they're going to be like, no, let's not work with them anymore because of that. And this is true for, in general, a lot of things. In general, when it comes to a lot of things, some people do care about these minor things. And it is true. Some people truly do care about the minor things. However, most of the time, in my opinion, you shouldn't even care about these people. That's why, like, often when it comes to, like, just look at Hollywood, you know, like all of these shows, all of these like reward ceremonies and all of these special events that are hosted, they're literally just to boost other celebrities' egos. That's it. That's all they serve. Your average Joe and the majority of people truly do not care. They truly don't care. And like, don't get me wrong, is there situations where I will dress up in nicer clothes because it's more suitable for the occasion? Sure. And I'm not saying that like you shouldn't try and act professional in situations. I'm saying that in general though, most people really don't care about the small things like that, and you shouldn't either. That being said, I actually sort of wish I wouldn't have unfollowed this guy on Twitter, because I wish I would have remembered his name, because I no longer remember his name because it was like 3 years ago now since I met him, roughly. I kind of wish that I wouldn't have unfollowed him so I could have kept track of what was happening with him. But last time when I did unfollow him, it wasn't going to the moon. Let's just put it that way.